Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone to rule well, as well as teach well. And also peace and salutation to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. And the title of this video is going to be The Beginning of Sorrows. Alright, the beginning of sorrows. Okay, because that's just about the times that we're at right now. Okay, especially following the eclipse that took place on I believe last Monday, April 8th. Okay, the eclipse that was pretty much seen all across Babylon the Great, the United States. All right, in which since that eclipse, okay, it's caused particular people throughout Babylon the Great, America, to basically bug out. You know, you had that story circulating on the news and amongst the body as well, the brotherhood as well, of this Eve, the so-called black woman, okay, who was a famous influencer on social media, who was all into astrology and stargazing and whatnot. Okay, on the day of the eclipse, she basically deleted her husband, okay, and pushed her two children out of her vehicle while driving at a high speed down on a highway in traffic, basically causing her two children to be sent back to the spirit world, all behind her doing that. Okay, and she did it all in the name of that eclipse. When you go into that story, okay, bugged out. And not to mention, I believe down there in Georgia, you had another Eve, okay, on the day of the eclipse, who basically drove onto the highway on the day of the eclipse and started opening fire on the vehicles that was around her, okay, basically saying that the Most High told her to do it, or whom she called God told her to go out and shoot all those people on the day of that eclipse, okay, bugging out. And as well, over the past week or so, you had Jake down there in Houston, Texas, who intentionally drove his 18-wheeler, his semi truck, into I believe a Houston DPS building, if I got it right. All right, he did it intentionally. Okay, for what reason? I don't know, but nonetheless, all these things happen following the day of that eclipse. Okay, and then not to mention you had CERN opening up some type of portal on the day of the eclipse as well. You had NASA shoot, I believe, 3 rockets on the day of that eclipse, which all 3 of those rockets were named after Egyptian deities, okay, false Egyptian deities. So it was all types of witchcrafts, all right, and enchantments and sorcery that took place on that day, April 8th, the eclipse, all right. And so these things let us, the hopeful elect, know, those of us that have eyes to see and ears to hear, that we're just about in the beginning of sorrows. Hey, the Lord is getting ready to turn up the heat on this place to fulfill end time prophecy. Okay, this is Matthew chapter 24, verse 4. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, okay, because as we know in this chapter, Peter and the disciples asked Yahushua to basically break down what signs will be going on in the end time, to let them know, when Yahushua will return and deliver us. Lord will not be of their number. So basically, down in verse 4 in this chapter, Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. All right, so Yahushua telling them first and foremost, don't let nobody deceive you. Okay, because in these last days, especially, being that Esau Edom will be ruling in the last days and the end of this world. All right, how would Esau Edom be ruling throughout the earth? With all types of deception. Okay, deception, enchantments, pseudoscience, technology, false miracles on the left-hand side. Doing the bidding of Satan, the working of Satan, as it says in 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter. So Yahushua is forewarning them first and foremost, Don't let nothing or no man deceive you in the last days. Verse 5, Matthew 24, verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach, or, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. Yep. And, that's going to happen both on an individual level, because, we are, or at least myself, I fully believe that in a lot of days, in these days going forward till Yahushua comes back, I believe that you're going to have all types of bugged out particular individuals, whether they be amongst Jake that knows that they're Israelites, particular bugged out Jakes that know that they're Israelites, or, Edomites or heathen or whatever, that's actually going to be popping up, okay, on social media or whatever, and actually claiming to be the second coming of the Messiah. Especially a bugged out Jake. Okay, you can pretty much already see it now. That in these last days, when all hell breaks loose, more than likely you're gonna have a handful of bugged out Jakes that's gonna be popping up in particular places. With long ass dreadlocks, wearing all white, with a staff in their hand. Okay, talking about they're the Messiah. That's most certainly gonna happen. And as Yahushua just said, many are gonna be deceived by niggas like that. Okay? And on the same token, all right, where Yahushua said again, Matthew 24 and 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And guess what? Esau's gonna come with that same vibration as well. Okay, he's gonna when Esau comes with peace and safety in the midst of all the chaos is gonna be going on in the earth. When Esau comes with that charagma and the digital IDs and the social credit system and all these things. Okay, when Esau's gonna allow AI to basically take over society, that's gonna be Esau's way of presenting himself as a Messiah or an anointed one on the earth. Okay, to bring forth left hand peace and safety in society, and left hand salvation. All right, which Esau's ultimately gonna try to do all those things through the charagma, the Revelation 13 and 16. That's gonna be Esau's ultimate method of presenting himself as some form of Messiah on the earth, which many people are going to take that charagma, especially the 2/3 of our people. And that's essentially going to make Esau a god on the earth, where he's going to use the charagma to have total control of what people buy and what people sell. Okay, how people are going to be able to travel and go to and fro. Okay, tracking people's carbon, and how much carbon they're able to use on a daily basis, how much money they're able to receive on a monthly basis. Okay, all these things are going to be tied to that charagma. Okay, it's basically Esau is basically going to put people's soul on a digital grid. Okay, to where he has total control. And that's going to be a great deception that Esau is going to push throughout the earth. So Matthew 24 verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So you see that? So Yahushua telling us, okay, that we're going to hear wars and rumors of war in the end times, but, okay, the end is not yet. All right, and clearly when you look throughout the earth, you see all types of wars and rumors of wars going on. Of course, you got war going on in Ukraine. You got tensions building up between the U.S. and China over, Taiwan or Taiwan, however you pronounce it. Okay, and of course, not to mention, you got wars taking place in the Middle East between, the current state of Israel and Gaza and the Palestinians and whatnot. And as of recently, you had the Iranian military launch an attack against Israel. Okay, launching I believe it was 300 drones, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, launching 300 drones on Israel. All right, in response to a particular high-ranking military general within the Iranian military that was assassinated by the Israeli government. Okay, the Israeli military. All right, so in a string of many assassinations against Iranian generals that has taken place since 2020 up until now. All right, so as of recently, Iran finally decided to retaliate by launching a drone strike against the current state of Israel. Okay, the small heads basically, and we know, all right, due to Israel launching that attack, is going to lead to the least of the flock drawing out these different nations, as it says in the book of Jeremiah. The least of the flock shall draw them out. The least of the flock being the current state of Israel, the Israelis, the small hats basically. All right, and through Israel and Iran having all these particular back and forths and these different tensions is eventually going to lead to the United States getting involved and helping Israel fight against Iran, which will eventually lead to Russia getting involved and backing Iran to fight against the United States. And pretty much once that pops off, it's going to pop off World War III. Okay, but as you have all these rumors of wars going on, okay, with Iran launching an attack of Israel, okay, which is going to eventually lead to World War III. We know that that's not the end yet because, of course, as the Apostle Har has been going in over the past week or so, just because Iran struck Israel recently, that doesn't mean that, next week or next month we're going to be delivered out of here. All right, and why is that? Because we know before World War III pops off, the Charagma has to be implemented. And before the Charagma has to be implemented, Jacob's trouble has to pop off. Okay? Because when you go into Revelation 14, going into the everlasting gospel, right? Revelation 14 verse 6, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth. All right, and how is this angel preaching the everlasting gospel upon the earth? Through men, in particular the 144,000 that this chapter speaks of. Okay, the Lamb and the 144,000 on Mount Zion, which the 144,000 represents Mount Zion in this chapter. Okay, and so Revelation 14 and 6, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear the Most High Yahweh Shemel Shai, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. Okay, World War III, the Battle of Armageddon, which is going to be fought in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, pursuant to Joel 3, the valley of the Most High Yahweh's decision. Okay, over there in the Saudi Arabia region. And it says, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. All right. Then it goes into in verse 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city. Okay, Babylon the great, America is fallen. And this place surely is falling apart. It's falling apart physically via the infrastructure. It's falling apart politically with the government all divided up, and this terrible joke of a presidency, the whole Biden administration, and it's falling apart economically with all this inflation going up and people's rent going up, their mortgages, their bills and whatnot. All right, and it's falling apart. This place is falling apart socially. The men and the women are all divided up. Okay, the people are all divided up between these different ideologies and religions and political views and whatnot. Okay, everything about this place, America, Babylon the Great, is falling apart. Okay, from physically all the way down to politically, economically, as well as socially and spiritually. And it says, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Yeah, and that wine represents the philosophies and the policies and the customs of America. This place has made all nations drunken and corrupted with all the perverseness that goes on in this country. You know, why do you think the alphabet agenda is so widely accepted in particular countries around the world? It's mainly because of the influence of America. The same thing with feminism. Why do you think certain countries around the world where women didn't have, where women didn't have many rights, now all of a sudden they have the right to do this. They have the right to travel and drive cars without their husbands and all that. Why do you think those countries have adopted policies like that? Because of America, all the feminism that's pushed and promoted from the West, especially America, Babylon the Great. So it says, verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, okay, and what is the beast? America, NATO, and the EU, which is basically the revival of the ancient Greco-Roman system, all right? And what is the image of the beast? Basically going into how America, NATO, and the EU models itself after the ancient Roman Empire, okay? When it, via the Senate, the Constitution, okay, the use of the eagle, the stadiums and arenas and coliseums and all that. The bread and circuses all throughout the West. All this entertainment and sports and whatnot. Okay, the use of the Latin language in certain aspects of this country. Roman numerals taught in the school system. Certain laws in this country going back to the Latin language. All right. America, NATO, and the EU has basically set up an image of the ancient Greco-Roman system, by modeling itself after ancient Rome. Okay, and it says, and receive his charagma in his forehead or in his hand. And what is that charagma? All right, that mark that is speaking of. The sea hip. Okay. It says, verse 10, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the midst of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Okay, and what does that fire and brimstone represent? The missiles. Okay, the missiles that's going to be shot off on this place and burn this place, America, Babylon the Great. Okay, with fire, turn this place into a lake of fire. Okay, the fire and brimstone represents the missiles that are going to be shot off in World War III. So, what does the everlasting gospel that we're reading of in this chapter show you? That before the missiles pop off, before World War III pops off, the charagma would have to be implemented. Okay, and so that's why, as Yahushua said again in Matthew 24 and 5, Matthew 24 and 6, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Yeah, so the fact that we see countries like Iran attacking Israel, which is going to lead to the least of the flock drawing these different nations out, is not the end yet. Okay, because before World War III pops off, the charagma has to be implemented, and before that, Jacob's trouble has to pop off. Okay, so though we're in the end in the sense of we're in the last days of Esau's rulership, okay, we're not at the end yet, okay, because Jacob's trouble hasn't kicked off yet, and the charagma isn't here yet. So therefore, okay, we're not gonna see World War III kickstart until ultimately the charagma is implemented. All right, the MOTB, the Revelation 13 and 16, and it says, for a nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All right, in which recently, about a week or two ago, you had an earthquake that took place out there in the Northeast, around the New York, New Jersey region. All right, as well as the other surrounding regions throughout the East Coast, the Northeast Coast. okay, which that region of the United States hardly ever sees earthquakes. Okay, so that earthquake that took place in the Northeast about a week or two ago was most certainly an earthquake in a diverse place. Okay, and as Yahushua went into, we're going to see famines and pestilences. Okay, which all goes into what? Jacob's trouble. Okay, great tribulation. You see, so before World War III pops off, all right, we're going to have to go through a time of famine and pestilence and earthquakes and all hell breaking loose and great tribulation. Okay, which is going to lead to Esau basically implementing martial law and implementing the charagma. All right. And then it says, verse 8, Matthew 24:8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. You see that? So, with Iran launching an attack against Israel, okay, that basically lets us know that we're getting ready to enter into the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of, okay, Jacob's trouble. Okay, Jacob's trouble is right around the corner. All right, the fact that Iran launched that attack, all right, along with the solar eclipse, that should let you know right there, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, okay, and if you measure the time diligently, that Jacob's trouble is pretty much around the corner. All right, this word sorrows.
Strong's G 5604, Odin. Odin.
And it says the pain of childbirth, travail pain, birth pangs. Okay, it says intolerable anguish in reference to the dire calamities precede the advent of the Messiah. Okay, so the sorrows, that Yahushua spoke of. Okay, famine, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places, wars and rumors of wars, nation coming up against other nations. All these things are, the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of, okay, birth pangs. All right, dire calamities, and as the scripture says in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter. All right, let's get it. Slakia. Went too far down. All right, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, and I'm gonna start at 35. All right, 2nd Ezra 16 verse 35 says, "Hear now these things, and understand them, ye servants of the Lord." Okay, talking to the elect, starting with the 144,000. It says, verse 36, "Behold the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake." Yeah, believe not, behold the word of the Lord, receive it. Those of us of the hopeful elect in these outer days were meant to receive the word of the Lord. Okay, and believe not the gods whom the Lord spake, as it said. Because as Yahushua said in Matthew 24, there shall arise many that will come in his name, saying, I am the Messiah, and shall do what? Deceive many. So, hey, just like Yahushua, okay, the angel is telling Ezra in this chapter, believe not these other gods. Don't believe these, entities and these bugged out people that's going to be popping up in these outer days, that's going to be trying to deceive the elect. Okay, saying that, that they're anointed, or that they're some type of Messiah in the midst of all this hell that's going to be going on in the earth very soon when Jacob's trouble pop off. Okay, so it says, verse 37, "Behold, the plagues draw nigh, and are not slack, as when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains," all right, great sorrows, right, compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. 39, "Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Okay, so when these sorrows, these plagues, which are likened to birth pains, okay, come, they shall not be slack as it went into. And as these birth pangs, these great sorrows are going to be so great that, as it said, it's going to cause the whole world to mourn. And it's going to be sorrows on every side. So showing you what? That when Yahushua spoke about, okay, great sorrows, the beginning of sorrows in Matthew 24, okay, that basically came from 2nd Ezra 16 that we just read. So showing you, another scripture in the New Testament, in this case by Yahushua, okay, basically referencing a prophecy from the Apocrypha, okay, showing you that the Apocrypha is indeed inspired by Yahweh Shemel Shai, okay, but nonetheless, going back to it, so these plagues, which are likened unto birth pangs, okay, is going to the Lord is going to use them to bring great sorrows upon the earth, okay, on every side. And these plagues, okay, when you go up in this chapter, are what? 2nd Ezra 16 verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, okay, in the beginning, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do? What shall I do when these evils shall come? Okay, so when Ezra was seeing all these things in a vision, okay, when the angel was showing him a vision of all these plagues that would hit the earth in these end times, all these great sorrows, okay, it even had Ezra shook up. He's a man of the Lord. He's of the elect. Okay, and Ezra is back here in this time, okay, about to witness these very things that he's prophesied. Okay, and even he had to, he was so shaken up seeing these plagues and these visions that even he said, woe is me, woe unto me, who will deliver me in those days? Hey, but guess what? As Yahushua said in Matthew 24, be ye not troubled. Although these things are just the beginning of sorrows, be ye not troubled. Because ultimately, Lord willing, those of us of the hopeful elect, the remnant, we're going to be covered by the blood of Mashiach Yahushua. Okay, that mark according to Ezekiel 9:4, to be exempt from all these judgments and all these sorrows and these great mournings that the Lord is getting ready to bring upon the earth. You see? So it says, 2nd Ezra 16 verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Yeah, and when you go into the word scourge, it basically means like a whipping stick. Okay, a tool that's used for the purpose of correcting something or someone. Like a whipping stick. Okay, and the word amendment. All right, when you go into it, the word amend means to change. Okay, so basically, in other words, what it's saying is, when the Lord brings these, the famine, the plague, the tribulation, and the anguish that it just spoke of, all right, these great sorrows, the Lord is going to send these things upon the earth, upon the people of the earth, all right, as ways to correct these people and change their minds, okay, to make them fear the Lord. But as it says in verse 20, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So you see that? So though the Lord is getting ready to bring these scourges as an amendment, in which we already see these things happening on the earth, on small scales, throughout different regions of the earth on a daily basis. Though the Lord is bringing these things already on the earth, and it's going to get even worse, these people are still not gonna change their minds, amend their minds, okay, and fear the Lord. All right, in which that's going to cause the Lord to go even harder on these people and bring even more terrible judgments upon them, and ultimately destroy these people by fire. In war, via World War III with the missiles and whatnot. Okay? But nonetheless, as Yahushua said in Matthew 24, all these things are just the beginning of sorrows. You know, the nation coming up against nation. The famine, the tribulations, the plagues, all these things. All right, false messiahs, false teachers, false prophets. We're about to enter. We're just about to enter into the beginning of this the worst part of this straight gate. It's only the beginning. What happened over there in between Iran and Israel, that's just the beginning. We're not at the end yet. Okay, World War III is not gonna pop off tomorrow or next week or whatnot. Okay, because first, before that, the Quran has to pop off, and World War III has to pop off, and great persecution against the ministry has to happen first. You see. So hey, even though it's just the beginning, but we're in some marvelous times, because our redemption draweth nigh. You see. Let's go to Ephesians 5. Ephesians 5. As a matter of fact, let me put the NLT next to this. Alright, this is Ephesians 5, verse 15. Alright, Ephesians 5, verse 15. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise." Walk circumspectly, meaning look around. Always looking around on the news, always looking around on current events. Okay, and even, always looking around on social media for things that you can find that can be tied back to the scriptures and whatnot. Be circumspectly, all right, and even because as the Apostle Paul is exhorting us to walk circumspectly, that goes back to the law. Okay, there's a law in the book of Exodus that tells us be circumspect. Yep. This is Exodus 23 verse 13. "And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the names of other gods, neither let it be heard in thy mouth." Yep. So even in the law, it tells us to be circumspect, to always look around, watch around. Okay, always be on the lookout for the wiles of the devil and the snares of Satan and all this pseudoscience and BS that Esau is getting ready to come down with. All right, and make no mention of other gods. Which make no mention of other gods is not talking about literally uttering the names of other gods, such as Buddha and Allah and plantation Jesus Christ and all these things. No, okay. When it says make no mention of other gods, it just means don't reverence these other gods. Don't don't exalt them or don't worship them or praise them. All right, that's what it's going into. Okay, because clearly when you read throughout the Bible, the whole entire volume of the book, there's various scriptures where Yahushua in the Gospels, okay, even the Most High Yahweh himself mention the names of particular heathen gods in the scriptures. So does that mean that the Most High Yahweh Shema Shai broke their own laws or committed sin against their own laws? No. Okay, because once again, when it says make no mention of other gods, it means don't reverence these other gods and deities of these nations. Okay, don't worship them, don't praise them, don't exalt them. You see? Be circumspect against them. Watch out against them. Don't be caught up in their snares and their traps. Because that's what the gods of these heathen nations have always been to our nation all throughout the generations. Okay, they were always a snare and a trap to our souls. You see? But guess what? The Lord has sealed the elect so that we won't get snared and entrapped by these gods and these idols of these heathen here in these latter days. Okay, as the scripture says, no enchantment against Jacob. All right. So going back to Ephesians 5 and 15, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. All right. Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. All right. 16 in the NLT. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. All right. And make the most of every opportunity to do what? To seek the Lord while he may be found. Okay. To renew your mind, put off the old man. All right. Offer up, the right sacrifice through the Spirit while we're still in this grace period. You see, and do the work of the Lord. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. You see, that's what we ought to be making the most of every opportunity to be doing in these evil days, as the days are getting ready to get even more evil. Okay, you listeners, you believers out there, hey, make the most of every opportunity that you can to to serve the Lord and help out his ministry before basically before the famine of the word hits, and we're no longer going to be on the internet and on the highways and the byways doing these videos and going out and preaching the gospel. You see, so make the most of every opportunity to seek the Lord while he may be found. Okay, and offer up the right sacrifice. And it says, verse 17, wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. 17 in the NLT. Don't act thoughtlessly, but understand what the Lord wants you to do. Yeah, and what does the Lord want you to do? Okay, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Seek him while he still may be found. Renew your mind, offer up the right sacrifice. Okay, to serve him and help out his ministry. Help out the men that are on the front lines serving him. Okay, do all these things while you still can. All right, because very soon, as it was going into, these days are evil, and they're only going to get even more evil until Yahushua comes back to deliver the elect and establishes the kingdom. All right. But as for right now, hey, we're about to enter into the beginning of sorrows. You see that eclipse that happened on the 8th, as well as that attack by Iran on the land of Israel. Hey, that's not gonna be. Those things aren't done in vain. Those are some major signs of the end. All right, as of 2024, you see. And so things are about to get even more evil. Things are about to get more crazy, more perilous. And so, hey, those of you that's up the hopeful elect, Lord willing, I'll be at that number. Just continue being humble, continue repenting, offering up the right sacrifice, renewing your mind, stay prayed up, stay locked into the Spirit. Okay, and ultimately just hope to be covered by the blood of Yahushua when these evil times come. You see, so Lord willing, this video is edifying, and until next time, shalom.